My name's Dan Marnie. I'm from Tackle Your Feelings, and we work very closely with Sean and the Amos to deliver mental health education. A few in the room, no doubt, have probably gone through our program and are really familiar, perhaps, with the branding and what sits behind that. Over the last couple of months, we've made a few reviews in our own off-season, so hopefully if you've gone through the program and are familiar with it, there'll be a bit today that builds out your idea around how that might sit with you in this season and years to follow as well. I've also brought along, part of our key assets at Tackle Your Feelings is the fact we're run by psychologists. So Glendenning has come along with me today, and she'll also present a couple of slides to help give you an idea around what it is we do. I did find it quite funny this morning, actually. I had to look at Sean's email, have a look at the map of where to park. And I don't know if anyone else noticed, top left-hand corner, there was the Melways reference code.
I saw that, yeah.
I haven't seen that listed anywhere in a long time, but it did flash me back to my early footy days, which was with the Amos, and we were based in the northern suburbs, 2003 and 4, so heavily reliant on the Melways back in the day. There was no Google Maps, and often when we'd travel to a team based in the east or Bayside, there was a lot of failed attempts using the Melways. So I won't go into this one in too great a depth, but was really keen to leave it in today. We open our workshops with this one, but just wanted to celebrate the artwork. This is by Ricky Kilday. He's a proud Jar Jar Wurrong man from central Victoria. And he basically spent some time learning about the program, came back, put his craft to work, and presented this one. And I just wanted to note today that my eyes are drawn straight to the centre, the yarning circle. But I love that each of these dots is really representative of the great people you meet and engage with and connect in community sport along the journey. And as I said, if you've gone through a workshop or you intend to go through one in the future, we unpack this a little bit more, but I really wanted to just include it today just to highlight, I guess, the many ways in which that we can celebrate connection and community as part of this great game. In the simplest of terms, we're a mental health education program for community AFL clubs, and we are tied to the AFL Coaches Association, Players Association, and strongly backed by Zurich, by the Zurich Z Foundation. We've just gone through a recent funding submission, and Zurich are right behind us for a number of years to come. So a lot of the initiatives today have come about from a really strong relationship there. The program's been around for a few years now. It was brought about as a bit of a legacy to Phil Walsh after his tragic passing in 2015, 2016. And the Coaches Association got together with the players and wanted to put something together within community football that helped support this space. And really highlight Phil's connection to community football and mental health as well. Zurich jumped on board at that stage, and the model was built around engaging clubs with our psychologists, almost flipping and reverse engineering access to help in that space and helping clubs get a sense of really the support and support networks that were out there. We've now been able to put the program in front of 10,000 participants since kicking off, and that includes quite a number in the Amos as well. We've got a really strong partnership. It's growing year on year, and this year we're extending that again to go even bigger, and really excited at the opportunity to build on previous year's success. I've included this slide just as a chance to highlight the partners we work with. So our model allows us to work directly here in Victoria. Our top line, that's our metro partnerships, with a number of leagues and partners. We're a national program, so as we extend out of Vic, we're working indirectly with each of those state bodies and also with some of the regional sports assemblies as well. What that does provide us is great feedback to keep refining the program, making it really relevant for community football. The big part of the program is it's contextualised around what you see, what you do and what you feel at your clubs as well. So, the feedback we get from our relationship with Sean and the VAFA is really important to how we evolve and build the program as well. Keeping it really simple, our program objectives align pretty closely with a number of different programs out in this space as well. Raising awareness, which I think as a community we're doing really well. We're really proactive. We're playing more offence than defence in this space. And the same can be said around reducing that stigma. And what I like around that space for us is, again, being able to put a psychologist into a really safe and familiar space, your club rooms, your social rooms, allows them to get a real sense of what help is out there and sort of take away perhaps some perceived ideas around heading along to a psychologist and getting help in that environment. We're able to create the connection there in a really familiar space. And finally, behaviour change. I think our community clubs are great spaces. We have a lot of fun there. You have a lot of good friends, a lot of strong connections. So that one there is almost celebrating the great things that happen at local footy and netball clubs as well. And just aligning it and highlighting, the connections we have and the opportunity that they have to play a really important part in our mental health journey. Perhaps when we need a pickup or need someone to check in and have a conversation, or vice versa when perhaps you notice that someone's just not quite right as well. I'll keep the next couple of slides pretty light and then throw to B in a moment's time. This one will be a good one if you wanted to have a look through the reason we know the program works. Evaluation was completed in a couple of years ago and was published earlier last year. And we're also in the process of having a second paper reviewed, and that'll be coming out later on this year as well. Really simply, this is a process that we invest in heavily because we love to know that the program works. I think it provides really good, or an element of trust, I guess. There's a number of programs out there and people want to know, well, what differentiates you and how do you know it works? Monash University get on board and complete this independent study for us to highlight the fact that a number of our key objectives and what we're looking to do is landing and hitting the ground well. As it sounds like these slides will be shared, so please feel free to have a look at the study there as well if you wanted to dive a bit deeper. Again, I won't go too deep into this, but what I did want to highlight is those numbers at the top there, almost 3,500 participants last year. We would have had close to 450 VAFA participants in that bucket. We ran about 16, 17 workshops last year. It was a bit of a mix of player workshops, which is a pilot year for us. And in a moment's time, I'll talk around where that's led us to for this year, and also our coaches' workshops, which is sort of where the original piece started. This video will be a highlights package. It'll be a good one probably to jump back into. I'll save you a couple of minutes here, but really just highlights what the year looked like from go to woe right across the country for us as well. So when you get these slides, jump in and have a look at this one. And finally, just wanted to call out the great work too around this partnership. Many of you probably would have picked up on the Tackle Your Feelings round. We ran close to 20 focus games with medals. Had Caitlin Ashmore out to present there in the top right-hand side too. Took over the editorial in the amateur as well. Our program manager Adam also played Amos back in the day. Was able to put together a nice piece there, and I think it's an element to just celebrate the work that's being done, and something we'll continue to engage with as well. All right, so nice and quick summary. If you're looking at what does a journey look like with Tackle Your Feelings, we'll hopefully try and sum it up here for you. Knowing the playing groups of the VAFA, we can pretty much service everyone's whole club approach. So whereas previously we were focusing on coaches, key decision makers of clubs, the experience with the players program and the pilot that was run last year has just shown us that the demand is there to now sort of launch into a whole club approach. So, if you're looking to engage in a program, we're able to work with everyone from, male teams, women's teams, committees, club volunteers. The conversation around mental health extends further than just one set of players or decision makers at a club. So in 2024, we're there for the whole club. We kick it off with a 90-minute workshop, and we come to you. Often we see that sort of kick off anywhere between 6 and 7:30 on a training night or an alternative date that works for the club. We're guided by you on timing that works. We come to the rooms, as I said, a space that's really safe, feels familiar. Bring everything in. We're very much plug and play. Really all you need to do if you're looking to engage with us is let us know a date, a time, and make sure everyone at the club knows that it's running and going. We pick up everything else from there. Once the workshop's complete, you can jump online, go through a number of our online learning modules, all right, just to extend, self-paced, help those who want to build their knowledge do so. And the space that we've seen a bit of growth over the last 3 to 4 months is the last one here. We're building out elective workshops. And I guess why this is appealing for clubs is you have the opportunity now to jump on board and be part of, I suppose, a 3-phased relationship with us, and that might be over 3 years. We're going to have elective workshops around focused topics. So you go through the foundation workshop, you're able to pick up a following workshop at any time that you wish. You don't have to, you can just sit through the foundation, but really the feedback we've got is every year we've got to look for something new to put in front of players in this space. We want to be proactive, we want to support them, but every year we're just looking at what else is out there. So we've flipped that and gone, okay, how can we engage over a longer period of time? So this new model will allow you to pick up a workshop and then stay on board as part of your Tackle Your Feelings journey for multiple years. And where we can, we'll align and keep the same psychologist involved in those programs so the relationship builds as well. Finally, I think it'll support a number of the initiatives that Sean's probably spoken to earlier around supporting clubs. We're also going to have additional webinars and workshops for clubs that have a wellbeing officer or a wellbeing role in place, someone who's owning that responsibility once we leave, which we're starting to see happen a lot. We're going to start to provide online training and webinars in that space as well. We know often it's volunteers with a connection to the space and the role, and they're really keen for as much support as possible. So as an organisation, we'll be running national webinars to help that explicit role and what sits in the PD underneath that.
So hi, I'm B. Glendenning. I'm one of the facilitating psychologists for the Tackle Your Feelings program. I'm in private practice in Hyatt, so typically I end up in clubs that are along kind of the Bayside area, but that can be pretty varied. Last year I was at Ajax in South Melbourne one week and Marsala in Dandenong another week, so pretty broad range. I've been involved with Tackle Your Feelings for about this, I'm coming into my 4th year, and one of the things that really aligns me to working with Tackle Your Feelings is the accessibility of it. We take AFL specific language and we parallel it to mental health. So it's not new language for you. We're breaking it down so it's really easy and accessible to everyone at the club. So when we're delivering the program, one of the first ways that we use language that is familiar is we talk about it being like developing a mental health game plan for your club. And everyone's got a role to play within that. My role is to deliver the program to you in a way that's, is simple to implement. The club's role is to really take that and provide an environment that's safe and inclusive for everyone. Coach's role is to, keep going with that and provide an environment that is, promoting help-seeking behaviour. And then the role of the players is just rally around each other, not just on the field, but off the field as well. So within that mental health game plan, we break it down into 3 sections. We've got understand, recognise and respond. And when it comes to understand, we liken this to developing your fundamentals in footy, your tackling, your kicking, your marking. And the language we use to really tie in footy to understanding mental health as well is we think of it like possession in the footy game. So when you've got the ball, when you're in possession of the ball, we liken this to thriving in mental health. You're dynamic, you're shifting, you can roll with things. When it's in dispute, we liken this to being coping in your mental health. It could go either way. And when you don't have the ball, we talk about this being struggling or getting stuck. So we make it, really simple to consider what mental health is and just how dynamic it is. If you think of someone having the ball in a footy match and only one person being in possession of that ball, there's no game. It's pretty boring. So, we give that reference point of just how dynamic and shifting mental health is. So that's understand module. In the recognise module, we use the language of this being like lowering your eyes to get better at recognising signs and symptoms of a shift in mental health in your players. We go into a few, case examples of what a change in behaviour might look like in a player. Then when we move on to the respond module, when it comes to responding to recognising a shift in someone's mental health, you can take that in so many different directions, but we keep it really simple with how you then start a conversation with someone so that they feel safe to open up to you about what's going on with them. And so, that's where we're really building your skills around how to come into having a conversation with someone in a way that can be effective, the kind of considerations you might make. Looking at how you would then clarify the signs of when you've seen a shift in someone. And that's where we really develop that out of what the mental health game plan of your club looks like. And then afterwards, I'll be directing you to the online modules so that everyone can, develop those skills further if they want to. We hang around, we answer questions. If you feel like you need more support, we give reference point for other places you can go to. And then also you'll have my contact details, or the contact details of whatever psychologist has been there facilitating your workshop. so that you have a reference point in the community if you've got someone who's really struggling who does need extra support. But essentially what we're doing is we're helping you understand the role that you can play in providing an environment that is safe and inclusive for someone when they are struggling with their mental health. Because it's not necessarily that they need to see a psychologist. You know, we bring it back to you knowing that you also have the skills to make a difference for someone. So that's the role a psychologist plays. Back to Dan.
We're basing everything around building out the purpose of the conversation, which I think is picking up on a number of those points. So everything we do is trying to upskill and promote what that looks like in a footy context with footy lingo, and really just scaling it back to really simple things we can do, as we said earlier, to celebrate the already great connection and great things that are happening at our clubs as well. But you also mentioned, you know, when we do close out, we're going to highlight a number of elements of support as well, and your psychologist is definitely one of those. So go through our workshop. The connection remains. It's just a good point of contact to follow up as well. From a national perspective, you know, our psychologists have seen sort of, you know, 1 in 5 referral rate. So those sort of 21 or 22% of psychologists are getting referrals off the back of these sessions, which means the connection that they're creating is really strong, and there's people in the room there that are picking up on those services going forward. So we're hoping that number stays strong as we push forward as well. I won't dive into these, but going off the theme of today, certainly a free program. All right, no cost to a club. I mentioned before, plug and play. We're really aware of the role volunteers play, time poor. So what do? We try and make this as easy as possible to put in front of your club, at your club rooms, at a time that suits you, bring everything in, and as I said before, building that out into an ongoing journey as well for you to have one less decision to make as years go on as well. These slides I think will be a really good chance just to go through a couple of those key dot points. You'll have the contacts here to also go on and connect with. The way our relationship works, you'll have the ability to pick up a conversation with Sean or Pranav around, you know, dates and times that work for you if this is something that you do want to explore. So that'll sum up sort of where to go from here. But the one thing I did want to really just roll back on before I finish up is the extension of the program now. So if you have gone through Tackle Your Feelings along previous years, love the program, want to re-engage, think it's great to put in front of the whole club now, players from all levels, your 19s through, women's and men's. You know, that's where we've headed to now. So certainly available to service, you know, that whole club approach in 2024, and look forward to extending on the work and the last couple of years of partnership with the AMOs as well. So thank you very much.